Welcome to Industry Insights with Route Consultant, your front row seat to the fast-moving world of logistics and beyond. Each week, we bring you game-changing insights, real-world strategies, and fresh perspectives to fuel smarter investments and build stronger businesses. Join us as we sit down with expert guests to explore emerging trends and pressing topics across a wide range of industries. This is Industry Insights. Welcome back to Industry Insights. Today we are talking about a big change in the last mile delivery world. The Ford F-59 chassis has been the standard vehicle for FedEx Ground contractors for as long as most people in this space can remember. If you're running a pickup and delivery operation, there's a good chance that your fleet is built around these. So the news that Ford is discontinuing the F-59 chassis with no new production after 2027 is a pretty big deal for contractors, especially those who haven't started thinking about what comes next. So we've got Grace Bay on the show today, the CEO of Hello Truck Lease. They've been working through this transition already, placing new fleet solutions with contractors and helping people think through what this actually means for their operation. So Grace, thanks for joining me here today.
Hey Josh, thanks for having me.
Perfect. So can you just start by walking us through kind of what your immediate reaction was when you started to hear about this news?
Yeah, so this news has kind of been rumbling through the community for about a year now, and started as just kind of rumors, and then we started to see some writing on the wall with orders being canceled. Luckily, not for us, but for other people in the space. And really, it hasn't been fully confirmed that the F-59 chassis won't be produced in 2027. Uh, in I think it was last week, Ford formally announced that at their meeting in Las Vegas, and so we have it on good authority that it is for sure not going to be produced in 2027, and that means no step vans, at least no Ford step vans, and there's not a great other option to pivot into that is going to be the same price point and affordability. So as this news started coming about, it's a shock. It's a shock to the entire community, and it really changes the way that people are going to do business and strategize their fleet.
Yeah. And there's plenty of people who they hear you say that they're like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this means. I know exactly what the Ford F-59 chassis is. This is my fleet. These are all of my, all of the vehicles that I run all the time. But there's also going to be a lot of our listeners who have no idea what we're talking about. So can you just give a little bit of an overview of what this means? What are these vehicles? Why does it matter?
Yeah. So the F-59 chassis is it's the chassis that your traditional step van is built on. So it's a heavy duty chassis. It's actually a motorhome chassis. So motorhomes are built on this, and it's the traditional, FedEx or bread truck that you see with the sliding door on the side. That's the vehicle that's built on this chassis. And so P700s, P1000s, P1200s, all of those are very standard last mile delivery vehicles that require the F-59 chassis to be built on top of. And it is when I try to explain it to my friends or people who aren't in the space or not as integrated into the space, I give an example that I think has landed pretty well. So I'll just give it here, and maybe this will help for our listeners who aren't as familiar. But if you have mom friends that have any amount of kids more than like two, right? They probably have a minivan or something like that to be able to transport all of said children, right? And imagine that there's there's no real equivalent, like no SUVs, no larger vehicles. Minivans your only option, or at least the main one. And all of a sudden, news breaks that there's going to be no more minivans, right? Like moms would lose their minds. Like, how am I going to move all these kids and transport all these kids? And that's kind of the equivalent of what's happening in our space. And so, what I've been focused on is trying to prepare a solution that can come in as the SUV to say it's not a minivan, it is different, but it can do the same thing that you're used to the minivan doing.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to get into what some of those alternatives look like. But let's say that you're only doing step vans right now. You're only doing minivans for those who are following the reference. Is there still a way to buy those now? Like, can you still get some of those Ford vehicles now if you're trying to make any last second changes to your fleet?
Yeah, great question. Definitely. I mean, they're being produced through 2026, And we actually have allocation through the rest of the year. And we've gotten a good word from Ford that none of our orders are going to be canceled. So we have the ability to fill that need if people are wanting to get some last minute step vans in their fleet. And actually, just today, we have negotiated allocation with Ford for 2026 units that will be produced at the very end of 2026 that will carry us through having solutions for 2027 as well. And I think we're the only group that has that allocation. So I'm excited to announce that. But 2026 and into 2027, we can definitely be solutions still for the F59s.
Okay, so it does sound like, yeah, at least there's an option for the immediate short term through you all. Are you hearing of other orders being canceled? You're saying yours aren't.
Yes, their orders are being canceled left and right. Production spots are harder and harder to come by with Morgan Olson and Utilimaster because they're preparing for this change too, and they're trying to pivot. And so we've got good status on both sides that we have the production slots, we have the chassis, and I feel really good about our position there to be able to deliver step vans to our clients through 2027.
Okay. And I know, there are people who are always looking to buy new. That's part of the kind of the fleet equation. But when we're talking about parts and maintenance, I think that's a part of this problem that there may be some people who are thinking, okay, well, I'm good for the next couple of years because my vehicles are all fairly new. But how do we expect that, the retirement of this chassis to affect your kind of your maintenance schedule for your existing Ford F-59 chassis?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think one that a lot of people aren't really thinking that far down the line, right? It's this immediate change in thinking about the types of vehicles we're buying and implementing into our fleet from a either replacement standpoint or as someone grows. But I think we also need to remember that the discontinuation of this chassis is not going to just affect how you think about acquiring new vehicles or bringing new solutions into your fleet. It's going to affect how you maintain your existing units as well and the cost of maintaining those units. Because as we get farther and farther away from these chassis being produced, uh, there's not going to be as readily available parts, right? And there's not going to be an inclination for Ford to build parts or produce parts or manufacturers to produce parts for trucks that aren't actively being produced. So as soon as something gets discontinued, it's going to get a little bit harder and more expensive to maintain those existing units. I think in the near term, we won't feel that effect right away. But as we get farther and farther away from it, it's going to get pretty painful, especially for major replacement parts like engines and transmissions. I think that's gonna get painful.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where your repair and maintenance curve always naturally increases as the vehicles get older, but now it's going to be even more of a problem because as your vehicles age, repair and maintenance is going up, but also you're less and less able to find any of those parts as we go into the next 5 to 10 years. So it's one of those things where the your older vehicles of this type, as we move into the future in this space, repair and maintenance is going to be a different calculation if you are purely relying on this type of vehicle to kind of carry you forward. If you don't have any other plan other than run my current fleet to the wheels fall off, I think that's a really important implication there.
Yeah, for sure.
What do we think the used market's going to look like on these vehicles? Do we think it's going to be harder to find them, more expensive?
Yeah, I think these trucks have always held their value well because they can run for for a long time. They're heavy duty delivery vehicles and they're meant to be used very heavily, and they hold their value really well because of that. And I think if we look to examples in even just recent history, uh, we can see that shortage of these vehicles produces a really, really strong sale price for used vehicles. So we've experienced inventory shortages just in the last few years, and the value of these step vans have just continued to go up and up and up on the used market. So I don't see any reason why this particular change would result in anything different.
Yeah. Yeah, and so again, it's one of those things when you're thinking about your fleet valuation and your fleet strategy, thinking about, there's a lot of people who've been on I'm only going to buy these vehicles used, I'm going to run them to the wheels fall off, where both of those are going to continue to be more expensive in the short term if you kind of keep your strategy locked to that and locked to the Ford chassis. So it's about flexibility as we move forward. So what are the different alternatives that you and your team are kind of putting together to weather this change?
Yeah, good question. And I think there's I think there's going to be a lot of development in this space with different options becoming available as we get closer to this discontinuation and as other players come into this space. So I think this is an evolving conversation. But one of the things that we're really excited about right now is actually a Mercedes unit. It's very similar to a cutaway where it has the van Sprinter front and then the box on the back. The main one that we're talking about right now is equivalent to a 900 capacity, but I know that there are plans to have solutions for larger vehicles that we're working out right now. But this one has been really, really popular for a few reasons. Number one, it has the same cab access that normal step vans have, so drivers can go straight from sitting at the driver's seat into the box without having to get out and back in, which is great from an efficiency standpoint, but also for operators who are looking to have really safe vehicles. It reduces the amount of trips and slips and falls that happen when a driver can cut the in and out of the truck by half, really, at every stop. So that's really nice. It has the same roll up backdoor access that the step vans have. And so it feels very familiar and it's still efficient and safe. But it's actually a diesel rather than gas. And so the service intervals that are required to maintain these vehicles is longer. So you're having to be in and out of the shop less, which is really nice. And the fuel economy obviously is a great improvement as well.
Okay, so the Mercedes is kind of the option. You mentioned it already. Like these seem like a good fit, but I wouldn't be surprised if others try to fill the void that Ford is leaving. Do you
Yeah.
think that'll be with the problem with this type of thing is that somebody has to spin up a factory to produce these types of vehicles or change an existing line to produce these type of vehicles? Do we think that would be somebody running into the space in the next couple of years, or this is a ways off before somebody can kind of fill that void quickly? Hey guys, we just wanted to pause for a moment to invite you to our free events that are happening throughout the year. Whether you're just getting started in the logistics industry or you're looking to optimize your current operation, Route Consultant has events that are designed specifically for you. So head on over to routeconsultant.com/events or check out our show notes to register for free today. Also, while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Industry Insights with Route Consultant podcast so that you don't miss out on the stories, the advice, and the updates that are happening throughout the industry. We appreciate you being here and hope to meet you in person soon. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I think there are a bunch of different outcomes that are possible. Freightliner, for example, is another group that produces the chassis. But historically, Freightliner has been significantly more expensive than Ford. So, they may take that and run with it, and contractors can still get step vans, but at 10, 15, $20,000 more than they're used to paying. And, they're already $90,000 as it is. So how expensive can they really get before they're not an option for this last mile delivery space anymore? So I think we'll see. I think we'll see Freightliner play around with that, and then I think that some groups that have been in the space with smaller vehicles, like Mercedes, I think we'll see some larger vehicles come out from them, but maybe not exact step van solutions, but something like this Mercedes option that is similar but a little bit different.
Okay. And I think the interesting thing is that right now, this is not the only fleet change that people are dealing with in the FedEx space in particular, where 2.0 is coming in and people's territories are changing, their fleet's having to change. So how are you guys advising clients right now who either maybe are going through change right now and trying to figure out the best fleet mix or are anticipating that they might have a fleet change in the future? What are the best ways you guys are advising to stay flexible here?
There are so many things in flux, and it's really, really hard to nail down a fleet strategy when so many variables are changing. And so I think one of the things that's really, really nice about leasing rather than purchasing is that you can sublease these options to other contractors in the space. And so if, for example, your territory changes completely with 2.0 or something else really massively shifts what you need in your fleet makeup, Subleasing is a great option that can rehome these vehicles and then allow for entry into your fleet with exactly what you need. And you don't have to worry about, gosh, I have to offload these vehicles and sell them. And am I getting the maximum amount out of them? Or is it too soon and I'm upside down on what I've paid for these trucks already? And so it makes it, I think it takes some risk away and it de-risks the current climate that we're in where so many things are changing. So that's been really nice to work with clients through that and help them get exactly what they need and rehome some vehicles here and there and make sure that they have the right truck on the right route to maximize their efficiency and profitability.
Yeah, and while we're here, for those who've never worked with you all, can you just give a little bit of a sense of what your standard lease program looks like?
Yeah, of course. So our lease program is a full service lease program that's unique to this space. It is inclusive of all maintenance for the unit outside of tires, glass, and physical damage. And what's nice about that is it creates predictability to your fleet expense, and it removes the spikiness and the unpredictability that's usually part of owning and maintaining a fleet. And so as you are going into negotiations with FedEx or another partner that is your customer, you can know with certainty exactly what you're paying for your fleet and how that impacts the profitability of your business versus the uncertainty that comes with repair and maintenance as you own a vehicle over the years, and that becomes more expensive throughout the years.
Yeah. And beyond just the expenses, it's the uncertainty of everything involved with the fleet right now that, this gives you knowing what vehicles you're into, knowing that it can be a short amount of time. You don't have to hold on to these forever. And like you're saying, there's ways to sublease or get out of them, depending on what your territory ends up looking like. So, let's just go through a scenario. Like if you're working with a client who has 15 trucks, and they're all these F59 chassis, and maybe they range from 2019s to 2025s, and they're trying to think through over the next 1 to 2 years, what are the changes they should start to make. Obviously they don't want to just eliminate all of those vehicles just because they hear this news happening, but what's kind of the thought process that people should be working through there?
There's a couple things I would recommend. So first, it's definitely not a I need to sell all of my step vans and get out of this and shift gears immediately. That's certainly not the recommendation. I think it's most important to just be aware this is happening and the implications that this change has, right? So probably part scarcity and increased cost with owning and maintaining these step vans is number one. So being aware of that, being prepared for that. And then I think right now it's about learning about the other options and really understanding before you have an urgent need to replace something in your fleet, know what those options are so that you're not making a knee jerk reaction decision if you have a truck go down and you can't get the exact replacement into your fleet, right? So right now is about educating, and the good news is we've done a lot of that research for contractors and for last mile delivery businesses. And so we can come to you and say, hey, we've done the research. Tell us about your business and what you're needing, and we can help find that fit for you. And we've really enjoyed being able to serve as that partner in that way, so that you can focus on running your business and not, gosh, there's 5 or 6 different options and I need to learn everything I can about them because I've never run these vehicles or I've never even seen one of these vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's important is that one, like you said, know that it's happening and don't just hear it and then forget about it until 3 years from now when suddenly you're realizing that you don't have any strategy in place, you don't have any options, and everything's gotten more expensive. Think about it, build into your strategy, and work with someone like Hello Truck Lease that has done a lot of the research and you can partner with. Are there any other mistakes? I think we just talked about one. Don't just immediately go and sell all these vehicles, but are any other mistakes that you might see people making just hearing this news and reacting to it?
Yeah, I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm seeing some like panic buying too, where they hear that step vans are going away and they think that they need to buy 10 or 15 or 20 new step vans to kind of hold down the fort and be prepared for this transition. And I don't really think that's necessary either. I think there are going to be some really, really solid solutions. And I know that a lot of people in this community are a little bit nervous about change, and we're getting things thrown at us left and right. And it has seemed like the only thing that hasn't changed over the last few decades is the type of truck that we're using. And so here we are, it's time. And I know that makes people nervous, but there is no way in the world that someone is not going to come into this space and take advantage of this opportunity and create a really, really good solution. We're already seeing some, we're already deploying some. I'm really excited about some new options that we have. And so I just don't think that anybody should be panic buying. I think, like we've discussed, know it's happening, prepare for it, think about it, talk to someone like us to help walk through the different options, and then business as usual.
Yeah. Uh, okay, well then I'll leave you on this. There are, like we've talked about, there's a ton of different things happening in this space right now. If What do you think is going to separate good contractors from, contractors that struggle over these next few years as we continue to see these types of changes?
I definitely think that having the wrong size vehicle on your route is the biggest opportunity for failure right now, because if you are sending something out into your territory that is underutilized or potentially overutilized, either really either extreme, it's not going to work for your business, and you're not going to see the type of profitability that the business can produce if you don't have the right trucks on the right routes. And so with all of these changes, there are so many variables that go into deciding what is the right truck for this particular route, and is it at risk to change with the other changes I see coming down the pike. And so with all of that in mind, I think being very deliberate and intentional right now about what you are putting into your operation and how you're investing in your fleet and creating your strategy is more important than ever, because there are just so many pieces to consider. And one of my favorite things that I like to do with clients, or even people who never become clients, since I have a background in the space and one of my love languages is route planning, I really love sitting down and talking with people about the changes that they see happening in their business, and where they feel like they have inefficiencies and where they feel like they have the wrong truck on the wrong route, and talking through all the options and making recommendations, and whether you end up leasing trucks from us or you go out and buy them, or you any combination of those things. We really enjoy having those conversations, and so I would invite people to reach out to us and walk through those, whether you're a client or not, any intention of becoming one or not. We'll still sit down and talk with you and make sure that you have a good strategy.
And what is the easiest way for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we have a learn more form that you can fill out on our website, and that will give us your information that we need to get in contact with you, and you can schedule a call right there. Or I'll send you a text and get the information that you submit and get something scheduled.
Perfect. Well, Grace, thanks so much for walking us through this. I know this is a big thing affecting the space that a lot of people are asking questions about right now. Uh, I've had you on here before, so I've had you answer this last question before, but I'll change it this time. I'll say that it has to be, what is your either favorite movie or TV show in like this year, so the last few months?
Whew, well, as a mother to a 5-year-old little girl, I
Uh,
rarely get to choose the movie or TV show that is on our TV. But there's a very cute one if you have kids and you haven't seen it yet. We just watched Hoppers, and it
yeah.
is it's very funny for adults. So it's one of those that even as an adult you can sit down, and there are some inside jokes that only we get that are hilarious. But she has been obsessed with that since we've seen it. So I will give the award to Hopper for this year as my mom card pick.
That's perfect. Yeah, I actually I saw that one too with our son, and I also thought it was hilarious even for adults. So that's a great one. Perfect. Well, Grace, thank you so much for being here and being on the show. All
Thanks, Josh.
right, see ya.